Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Vasudha Vatu, and I'm hosting this chat on behalf of UK Asian Film Festival. Today, we're very lucky. We have filmmaker Satya Prakash Upadhyay with us, who's going to talk about his film Bunkar, The Last of the Varanasi Weavers. Hi, Satya Prakash.
Hi,
Nice to connect to
namaskar.
you this way.
Namaskar to everyone, all your audience and everyone. And I hope you guys are doing fine.
Thank you.
Looking at the
Yes.
situation,
Are you okay? How are things where you are?
it's good. I mean, here in India, there's a lockdown, so people have to stay in their house, take precautions, when they're stepping out to buy something. But otherwise, pretty much everyone is at their place, kind of working from home. And I think that is important, at this situation, where we know that how this disease is spreading all over the world.
Right. So, Satya Prakash, your film Bunkar was meant to screen with this year's festival, unfortunately,
Yes,
which is cancelled because of the global pandemic. I
yes.
should we start where it started for you? How did the subject come to you?
Yeah. So about this subject, basically, my film producer, she wanted to make a 5 minute uh, awareness video about weavers in Varanasi. So keeping that in mind, and there was another project, which was a short film for which from our production, we kind of went there in Varanasi to do a Reiki, just to see locations and all. And meanwhile, since we were in Varanasi, we were also kind of meeting some of the weavers, to understand, that if we have to make an awareness video, for 5 minutes, what all things we can include, in that subject. And while we were doing that, we kind of met one weaver, and then one weaver kind of led us to another weaver, who was struggling, and they were like one successful weaver. He was talking about his story. So one interesting thing what we came across is like that every weaver and every person who was kind of part of Varanasi weaving industry were speaking, or I mean, the problems were different. I mean, everyone was saying
Hmm.
something else. And at that time, we were not documenting. We were kind of just chit chatting. So the information was very raw, and we knew that whatever they're saying from their heart. Uh, so we could understand that if we are making a 5 minute video, we will not be able to do justice to the subject, because it's like in 5 minutes, like as a filmmaker, we know, you have to have like a beginning, middle, and end. So in five
Right.
minutes, if you have to talk about a problem which is so complicated, and a lot of people were handling that problem in a very unidimensional manner, which is where people go wrong. So we felt
Right.
that that if we want to really help by making this documentary, by making this awareness, about this particular cause, it's important to cover all the aspects, maximum what we can cover, in a film, so that people can get idea, about how to tackle this, or if they want to contribute as an individual, how can they help or support this particular Varanasi handloom, and even Varanasi weavers, So that was the idea.
So,
That's how it started.
so the story is about Banarasi sari, and we all love our Banarasi saris. But there is so much about the weaver that the most well-meaning people don't know, and we want to buy the truest Banarasi sari. So could you tell us some basic, the problems that come between the person who's buying, who could be a little more educated about this condition of the weavers?
So, as an individual, I mean, all were aware about Varanasi brocades and Varanasi saris. Banarsi sari is very famous in India. Like the concept is something where in every house one has to have Banarsi and Kanjivaram. That is the concept people have. So I had some awareness because I have my sisters and mother and my wife. Um, they wear Banarsi and all. So I had some idea about it, but not in detail. Now, what happened when I went to Banaras and kind of went to really big stores, and I thought there will be Banarsi. And when we say Banarsi, the most important part is it has to be handloom. So when I went to a couple of stores, and this time because I was researching, I wanted to see authentic Banarsi sari, which is a handloom. So I kind of went to a couple of stores, and big stores. I mean, there were like one-story, two-story buildings, which properly maintained and everything. And still, when I asked them, that I want a Banarsi, which is a handloom, they kind of looked at me and asked me to wait for 5-10 minutes. And that is when I thought that, that what is the problem? I mean, if you have so many saris at your place, you can just show it to me, that way. But they took their time, and then I realized, that finding a pure Banarsi, which is like a pure handloom sari, is difficult even in big stores. So that is when I realized that the power loom has taken over the whole handloom industry, and that is the major reason why these
Satya Prakash, I have to
Banarsi
disturb you
weavers
a
and handloom
minute.
weavers were struggling.
I can
And
hear your voice, but your video
about
is
this
sort
Banarsi
of
sari,
paused.
some of the things which you can, like finally I found, like I met one weaver and he kind of showcased the Banarsi sari in front of me. That is when I realized, the touch and feel is so different. And, the quality.
Satya Prakash, I'll have to disturb you 1 minute. I can't hear you clearly. Sometimes I can hear you, but your picture is definitely frozen.
I think we lost connection.
Yeah, we can do it again, no problem. But I'm not seeing you correctly. It's gone vertical.
Oh,
can
okay.
you adjust one? Yeah.
I can do this, but
Or can you bring it back? Because for some reason it changed. It's now it's perfect. Yeah, now it's back to its horizontal.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
even like your screen froze. So
yeah,
I was kind of figuring out, what happened.
yeah. So sorry, but can I take this question again?
Yeah, we can, no problem.
I think we got quite a lot of it, but I don't know.
No
I'll have
problem.
to...
You can ask again. Maybe I can, I can answer
Yeah.
from the beginning. No problem.
Sorry. Okay, so I'll go again.
Yeah.
So Satya Prakash, could you tell us a little more about the Banarasi sari and the weaver? We love our Banarasi sari, and what can we do? And what's the problem with the weavers?
See, as an individual, when I went for research and I kind of went to so many different stores, big stores, like, one or two story buildings, pretty organized and maintained, stores. And when I went there, and because of my research, I was focusing more on handloom Banarsi, because that is where, when I was trying to research, I came across that only a handloom Banarsi is an authentic Banarsi sari. You can call that. So I kind of went to the store and I thought this will be definitely a basic sari, if I can ask to a big store owner. But they kind of looked at me and they kind of took like 5-10 minutes. And after that, they came and they said that, sir, if you want, maybe you can come tomorrow and we'll bring the sari for you. And I was shocked. I was like, I could see like there are 1,000 saris in your store and you're telling me not a single Banarsi sari you have. So I don't know. I mean, this was my personal experience, and I don't know what was the reason why they didn't bring the original authentic sari. But when I met other store owners and some of the weavers, they said that they don't keep it, because most of the Banaras stores and all, they have either semi loom, which is a little bit of handloom, and most of it is power loom, or a power loom sari with the designs. So a lot of people, like even me, who have no idea about. Yeah, can you hear me?
No, it's getting shaken up again. I got most of it, but
So what happens is, when you go to Banarsi stores, Banaras shops and all, and when you kind of ask for Banarsi saris, what happens is, what they provide you is mostly power loom saris. I mean, at least in my experience, wherever I went, mostly what they showed me is like a power loom, or I mean, the best case scenario is, you will get it like a semi loom,
a
which is like
semi-loom.
the semi loom, which is like most of the part is done by a power loom machine, and then the rest of it can be like a little bit of handloom work, which can be embroidery or whatever, and then they call it as a, when most of the people, when they ask Banarsi and they say authentic Banarsi, they kind of give you semi loom, and people buy it because they had no idea. Like, that is also one of the most important reason why I felt like, that when the audience, or when the customers have no awareness what they are buying is authentic or not, then there is no point in blaming the store owner or any person, because you are not aware of it, if it is original or not.
Yeah.
So that is something which I've came across, and I've come across, and they were, and then I met a lot of weavers, and they kind of showcased me, like, authentic Banarsi sari. And when you touch it, and when you see the designs and everything, like authentic Banarsi sari, then you know that whenever you see a power loom in future, you come
Mm.
to know that which is authentic and which is not. So
Okay.
that is the most important thing. So I feel, as an audience and as a customer, one should know that Banarsi sari, when we talk about, and when we are only looking for authentic Banarsi sari for our family members, it has to be handloom with Banarsi brocade. If you don't take handloom, and then there is no point, because then there is a power loom, and people will try and sell it by calling it a Banarsi brocade, but that is not authentic, because but because the Banarsi brocade and Banarsi sari, which is famous for, is something which only a handloom weavers make it, and that's how
Right.
it became famous.
Right. And
So
what I
that is
love
the
about
question
the
one has
film,
to
you
ask.
sort of, the weavers sort of tell you the tricks also, how to measure whether it is a real handloom or not. I love that part. It kind of empowers people, with knowledge to know what is authentic or not. I mean, all around the world, we give so much value to artisanal and, handmade right now. There is like things, designers and artists are mostly going back into traditional weaving and arts and crafts.
Right.
And the context your film is in is completely the opposite of it. We are not valuing traditional handmade, which is made over hours. The film discusses it takes months to make a sari on a loom, hand loom.
It, yeah, original, like, proper Banarsi sari takes 2 to 3 months. And
Wow.
I mean, one which is like a luxury product, which you can call authentic. It takes minimum 2 to 3 months, and it has a very intricate design. Like, very minutely, these weavers kind of weave everything from their hand and take time. The yarn and everything. I mean, the whole process takes time, and when you touch it, when you see it, it has its own, beauty of it. I mean, and once you kind of feel it, then rest of your life, what is the authentic quality, and what is there flooded, in Banaras market, uh, which is power loom. So one has to experience that, once you do that, and then it's up to you. Then if you
True.
want to buy a power loom, you, like, now a trend is, like, a lot of people want to buy, like, want to invest little money, but they want to buy plenty,
Mm.
but then there are also some people who want to just buy one really good product. They want to
Yes.
make a one time investment. So but the awareness is important. Then at least you know about it, and you buy,
Right.
you buy with awareness that, okay, now I want to buy power loom, and I know it, this is power loom, I'm buying. The problem is, like, when you are going, especially in Banaras, and there is already that kind of marketing and the air about, that, oh, you, Banarsi is very famous, and you have to buy
Yes.
Banarsi and all. And after that, putting so much money, still, if you buy power loom and call it authentic, and one day when that bubble will break, you will feel cheated. That
Right.
happens to a lot of people.
Right.
So that is where I thought that it is important, for me to inform people about it. That was one particular aspect which we covered in our film, kind of
Right.
telling people that we are also responsible, because we are not aware of it. How we can go out and buy branded products, and we kind of check their logos, we check about the brands, we check a lot of stuff,
Hmm.
because we don't want to get we don't want someone to cheat us,
Get
although if
fooled.
it is a
Yeah. We check quality of everything.
Exactly. So here also, I thought that, when you're going, especially traveling to Banaras, and you are already, like, in that spiritual mode, and kind of watching Ganga and Ghats and everything, and then you feel like, for your memories, you want to buy Banarsi authentic, handicraft and all that. Then you want it authentic. You don't want people to fool you. So I feel that, okay, I mean, of course, a lot of depends on the person who is selling you the product, but a lot of also depends on the eye, what you should have, and the question what you should ask while buying it. So that awareness is also important. And once you do that, then I don't think so anyone will try and fool you. They know that, okay, this person is asking authentic, and if I don't have, I have to at least tell him that this is semi loom, this is also good buy. But then the
Hmm.
choice is mine.
Right.
You know, the choice belongs to uh, the customer, and then if they want to buy, they will buy. Otherwise, you can
I
skip.
like it how your one of your experts put it. You know, the revivalist Smriti Morarkar. She put it. About the weave. How traditionally weave was considered a luxury, and embroidery was something people who couldn't afford the weave used to try and copy the same jamdani designs or in the embroidery. But now embroidery, because of whatever the marketing of designers and just the times have changed. Embroidery is everybody's going and paying more for embroidered outfits, while the weave is just like considered something very simple
Simple and
and plain.
ordinary.
It was
So that's the
beautiful
thing.
how she put
I
it.
mean,
In a minute
that's what,
you got it what the problem is.
and that is what is happening. I mean, most of the viewers, what they are facing is like, the respect, they are not getting it. So the reason is because if you can't make out, that the embroidery is not that tough. Although of course it's handmade and it is difficult
Right.
task, but when you compare it with weaving, and weaving is here, and they're definitely like, the embroidery goes down, and that is when you kind of give respect to weaver that much, that okay, this is like each and every element is basically something which he is making it from his hand, minutely. Everything is happening like, simultaneously, the process. And embroidery is something where you already have a cloth and then you kind of design it. It is difficult, but at the same time, comparing, like, when you compare two things,
There's a lot
the
of
quality
artistry in the weaving, which
in the
is
weaving.
very labor intensive, yet quite a lot of creativity involved in it. And it takes, your films talks about, it takes a whole family to do, preparing the yarn and everything. And then the weaver weaves it. And nowadays they have to also sort of sell and market their products, which never used to happen earlier, when they were given respect. And kings and queens and royalty used to commission saris and 3 months in advance and pay them a lot of money. But now the condition is much different, as you say in the film.
That's what I mean. See, I mean, this a lot of reason. I mean, blame I can also say to, like, I can blame to younger generation. Where we are not aware of this particular aspect of, like, of Banarsi saris and art. Like, when we see this thing as an art, we kind of, like, we have this respect for other art. And
Right.
when we come to know about the artist, it's not like we don't respect artists. The point is, like, we are not aware of what kind of artists these weavers are and how much time it takes. So when you take away the respect from the artist, automatically the person who's weaving it will slowly kind of go away from that particular art. Because I think as an artist, the most important thing is, like, to get at least respect, because money already, a lot of artists, if you see, like, they suffer all their life. They always struggle about the money part. But if you can't even respect them, then that is the end of any that's what I feel. So the younger generation is not aware of this particular aspect. They know about Banarsi and the air about that Banarsi is very luxury and all that. But then they also have to understand who creates it, and and the creator is these weavers. These weavers'
Mhm.
appearance is not commercial, like, how generally people prefer, like, when you kind of follow like, Bollywood, or when you follow West, you feel like, that, oh, the artist has to, kind of present himself in such a way that he should look like an artist. But in reality, a lot of artists, like, they are so involved in their process that they don't focus too much about like their presentation. I mean, about themselves, like, their focus is like in their whole focus and their whole love and everything they put into this particular
Yeah.
art, into
It's
their
interesting.
design
The
and into
interesting the
their.
point you're making. We never see them as creators, as artists. Don't give them that thinking person's respect, where you value not only for their labor, but you value them also for coming up with these creations. And that's very true. We don't see somebody who's made my sari as an artist or as a creator, a creative person. That's very true. And you
See,
talk about in the film the younger generation of weavers are sort of in hordes leaving this profession. It's unsustainable. They're not making enough money to even sustain themselves. Forget about, doing creative work within, the craft. What do you, can you talk
yeah,
about
I
it?
mean, so a lot of weavers, when they were struggling, they were saying that we are not getting enough wages, like, payment, because there's this particular sector, the major, one of also the major reason which I've come across while talking to other people is, like, that it's not a very organized sector. Like,
Mm.
although, like, it looks like, that there are shopkeepers, which we call gaddidars, and then there are weavers, and then there are so many yarn provider, who kind of sells yarn. And
Mm.
so there are so many elements, but together it becomes a huge industry in Banaras, but it's not organized. So what happens is, like, these weavers depend on directly the shop owners or gaddidars, for their money. Yeah, it's not like,
Right.
that there's a fixed wage which these weavers are getting it. Some weavers I've come across, who were struggling, they kind of said that they get paid like 200 rupees per day or 300 rupees sometimes maximum, which is nothing. Because if you see, like, in my documentary, one or two weavers who were ex-weavers who left their job, although they loved it, like their fourth generation, their families, like, everyone were into weaving, and they now are kind of riding an auto rickshaw, that guy said,
Well
that I
said.
kind of get now from this auto rickshaw, when I'm doing this particular job, I'm getting paid like more than 400, 500 rupees. So why do you think I will go for weaving, when I'm only getting paid 200, 250, and not more than that. And of course, you cannot pay more than that. I mean, because it is in the hands of some of the gaddidars. If
Mm.
if they're unable to sell Banarsi sari, authentic sari, then how will they pay to these weavers? So there is a major gap, which one, of course, a lot of people are now, like, like how this revivalists and social workers, they are helping, but numbers has kind of fallen, like, huge. If you see, like, like one of the person in the film mentioned, that this Zari guy, he kind of mentioned that there were earlier like 20 lakh weavers, and now there's only 50,000 left.
Wow.
Handloom weavers I'm talking about. So you can see the fall, the percentage, so I mean, looking at that, you can imagine why people are leaving, because end of the day, it's not like only art for them. It is also their survival. Their whole family kind of depends on this particular work.
Yes. Yes.
So when that is not happening, then you might have seen one or two viewers said also that, end of the day, if we can't feed our family, then no
Mm.
matter how big this art is and how famous it is, but we have to take care of our basics first. And that basic is missing, with certain weavers. So that is also important. And
What
that's why, like,
what
the
in your opinion, what has the government or textile ministry done? Have they taken certain steps? What what
see,
can
they
they
have taken a
do?
lot of steps.
You talk about in the film about, the minimum wage maybe that could be set up, or the women of the family could also, contribute into the weaving part of it.
See, there's so many things which in the film we have said. There's not one particular answer to that. I think one answer is that only I could relate to is, like, uh, when the demand, like, when the demand of the sari, like handloom sari, if people ask for it, then definitely it's gonna support the weavers. That is the most important part, which I felt like, that in any business, if there is a demand,
That
then a
will
lot of people
impact
will.
immediately.
Immediately, yes. Otherwise, like, like the way this whole sector is, you can't literally help each and every weaver. You have to literally help the whole industry in a way, like, where you create demand and awareness. So aware government is doing that. They kind of creating awareness about handloom saris. Then there is handloom mark now, and then there is this GI mark. These are
GI
the things
mark, you
which
said.
GMR, and these are the things which government, that initiative, like, they took that initiative. But point is, like, if people are still not aware of it, then eventually it will not help. Like, I came across one particular weaver who said that government has provided handloom to them, like, 90% funding government did to buy a loom. But then he said that, but the end of the day, sir, even if I make it, who will buy? I have a loom and everything, but if I make sari and if no one is
Yeah.
buying, what will I do? Well, I can't force government that you buy, take it, and give me money all the time. So then the whole problem comes to that particular thing where where people should come and buy that, and that is where, if you see, if you go in the market of Banaras, you realize that people are buying a lot of saris. It's not like that the whole market,
Right.
uh, people are like, there's so many travelers. Like Banaras is a city where it's an oldest city, so a lot of tourists coming from all over the world,
Of course.
traveling
Yeah.
and going to stores, buying Banarsi. I mean, that is famous, kind of government has marketed in that way. But the important part is that if you don't buy authentic Banarsi sari, then these weavers will get nothing, because you are just buying a powerloom sari, which a lot of shop owners have their own setup, and they kind of make it, they kind of produce 20, 30 varieties of the same design, and that is not authentic.
But
If
what do you
one,
think, in your opinion, it is? Is it fast fashion that we want cheaper things just to wear it once and discard it? Or where do you think is the real problem?
see, I
Why
feel,
a customer wouldn't buy? Is it cheaper? Is it cheaper, the one produced by Powerloom?
yeah, that is true. Power loom is very cheap. Problem is, like, if someone wants to buy a power loom and they can't afford it, it's still okay. Point is, like, if you are asking for a handloom, some of the, like this, some weavers kind of told me, I didn't come across anything like that, but some weavers kind of said, that there are in the market, a lot of people are selling power loom by calling it as a handloom, and even they charge
Oh,
that much money.
oh my God.
So,
Okay.
so imagine if that is happening, definitely there is lack of awareness. Because if I'm giving you a product and I'm telling you that no, no, this is handloom and this is real Banarsi and this is for 40,000 rupees, and
Mm.
what will you do? I mean, you have to
Mm.
go with the face
That's pretty
value, and you have
unfair.
to believe
Yeah,
that, okay,
that's
maybe I'm
unfair.
buying authentic.
They shouldn't fool
So when
people.
that kind of a, yeah. So some people are doing. I mean, that's what I've heard. Some people are doing it, and there's a lot of store owners where they didn't have handloom. Now I don't know what they call it, because to me they didn't say that it is like a handloom product. I asked very specific questions, like, that I'm looking for a handloom sari. They didn't provide me. They asked me to wait for 10 minutes. Maybe they thought that I'm some government person who is there to just survey and check how they're selling it. Because I also come across, like, that a lot of stores, like, they have a license of selling handloom products,
Okay.
and still they are selling power loom. So that is also something which I've come across, where they get a license that, oh, we are promoting Banarsi sari only, and this will be uh, that will be our business model. But then their shop is flooded with power loom, or, like, best case scenario, semi loom. So I feel like, that people, I mean, that's what I feel most important. If, imagine, if you don't know only what you're buying, then there is no
Hmm.
point blaming. And also the generation, like, the today's generation is more about face value. That's why I said, that they can't even understand the aspect, that how special these weavers are, because we go for the face value. Everything which looks good, which is colorful, and when we see, okay, this is brocade or whatever, we kind of buy. And sometimes
Right.
I can relate, that how my grandparents, and I'm sure I've heard a lot of stories about other grandparents, who are very particular about buying clothes. They used to buy very few things, but they will take time. Even guys, like, when men, they used to buy something, like my grandparents, they used to touch that particular cloth, for a very long period of time, and then they used to argue. They say that, no, the quality doesn't look good. So I just thought about it, that I've seen people doing that. Now people have stopped doing it. They will just ask the amount, and if they're getting the same product, four five products, and
Very true.
if they can call it Banarsi, it works for them. But I'm just telling
Hmm.
them, that that is not authentic Banarsi sari. If you're especially going in Banaras and thinking that you want to buy authentic Banarsi, and then you want to tell the world that, oh, listen, I have bought a pure Banarsi sari, it is not. Unless and until it is handloom, and unless and until a handloom weaver has made that particular sari. So that is something which people should remember, that when they are buying it and kind of gifting it to someone and they want that particular thing to be special, the speciality comes only when the weaver touches that particular sari, and he makes that particular thing on a loom, which is a hand loom. So that is the most important part which one should remember when they are taking that product.
Okay. Satya Prakash, could you please tell us a little bit about your process of filmmaking? How did you do all your research and then, selected all these weavers? Did you have a relationship with these weavers? How did they trust you and open up so well about all their, all the problems?
So I think, especially in documentaries, because I don't come from a documentary background. I have started my career as an assistant director in fiction films. But I did corporate documentaries in the past, so I was aware about how generally a documentary works. So in my case, my process was I wanted to go very organically, because I was not aware of so many things. I don't come from textile background, so for me, I was as fresh as any person who hears luxury textiles and Banarsi saris, for the first time. You are aware of it, Banarsi saris and everything, because you're surrounded by your family members, who talk about it. But unless and until you make a project which is very specifically talking about Banarsi, you don't get into details, So I kind of kept this particular thing in mind, that first of all I want to understand what it is, because when I'm talking about Banarsi, I had to see that what is the difference between like a normal sari and a Banarsi sari. So I kind of read a lot of books, and I had my research team. They kind of helped me, in terms of reading books about textile and Banarsi brocades, which is very intricate and delicate design. One has to study all that. So I was doing it, but one thing I was very clear that I want to focus. Rather than making a documentary which is very academically, making it for designers who can understand and study and all. My focus was more to solve this problem. Like my idea was that the problem should get people should understand about this problem, and they should do something about it. And that one can do only when you kind of talk more about the problem in a very humanly manner, rather than talking more about how authentic this design is, and all the the technical and academic part I'm talking. So I kind of I spend more time with weavers, and how they see it, what problem they are facing, and one weaver kind of guided me to another weaver, that he was facing some other challenges. Like some weaver were talking about that we are not getting enough money. Some weaver wanted to protect their design, because they said that that when we make it, a lot of people kind of how power loom is made. Power loom is made in a day, and handloom kind of takes in a day you can produce like any machine. It's a machine where continuously you can produce like 10 to 20, 30 saris in a day, that way. That's something minimum.
Amazing.
If you have a larger setup, you can produce as many as you want. So with handloom, what happens is when you make a design which takes time, it has to be unique. Every handloom sari will be unique, because you have to make a jacquard in a different way. And that's the model they're following, that the design should be unique for every Banarsi sari.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it.
There's a human creativity involved in it.
Yes. So some weavers, they are worried, that we take, I kind of 2 months to 3 months to make a sari, whereas a power loom can make the same thing by just copying our design in a day. So while we are still trying to reach to the market by making our product, there is already, the power loom and copy is already there, available in the market. And then, of course, the design is the most important, when you're buying something. Hello?
Yeah, it's gotten stuck again. Let me pause it.
Hear me?
So we're recording again. Okay.
Just a second.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So I'll ask, basically, we'll end it a little bit. Is there anything else you would like to?
I think, I covered pretty much everything. Maybe we can talk about process of the film, and also like the distribution part for the independent
Yeah. So I'll start with
filmmakers.
the award. I'll start wrapping, say about the award, and I'll talk about how it was sharing it with people. How was audience reaction? And then
Maybe
we'll
I
get
can
it.
also talk about the technicality of the film, because we kind of shot this film on a different camera. So that is
Okay.
unique because generally for documentaries, they don't go with such uh, with such technical setup. So I think
Okay.
maybe I can
Okay. So
just
let
with
me
that
ask you a
explain.
question about the cinematography. Okay.
Okay.
Satya Prakash, the film looks beautiful. And could you talk about just like the visual journey of the how did you sort of design it visually, and how did you decide to picture it?
So yeah. So what happened is like when we were researching and when we kind of met weavers and saw saris, Banarsi saris, I saw like that it was very colorful. Like every sari was unique and it had like a very interesting zari and designs and everything. So I thought that that the most important part when I'm talking about Banarsi and when I'm making a film, the film should look colorful. At least the saris which I'm showcasing. And I was very clear that each and every single sari which I'm showing in my film, if we are talking about Banarsi, it has to be authentic, which was very difficult for me. So I kind of, that also took time, because I was kind of collaborating with so many people to get authentic saris. Because generally in films, a lot of people, to showcase, you sometimes take fake also, people can't make out. But I thought when I'm talking about a documentary which is talking about real Banarsi, it's very important to show real Banarsi sari. And so initially we were going with a very simple camera, with generally a documentary. When you make a documentary, you go with a very small setup and very small camera, because that is very handy and you're traveling in a, I'm from Bombay, Bombay production company. So traveling to Banaras and having your crew and everyone, it's very easy to go with a small setup. But I kind of while testing the camera, I kind of realized that this particular Banarsi, if I want to go in detail, if I want to show it colorful and which is authentic, which people can relate to it, then I should go with a camera which generally people use for films, like to make movies and all. So then we kind of decided, my DOP kind of suggested that let's go with this Red Dragon camera, which generally gives you a 6K resolution. So with that mindset, we went and we kind of shot like very minutely some of the saris. Kind of took a lot of shots. That kind of portion. A lot of people said, in your documentary looks very Bollywood commercial films kind of shot we took like with the saris and all. And I said, they are the main protagonists in my film. Banarsi sari. They have to come, like a star. And this particular camera helped me, to capture that particular beauty of that particular weave and the brocade, of this Banarsi
Right.
sari. So we went with that setup, and the result is something which I mean later on I was also surprised, because while you're making the film and all, you're too busy with the technical aspect that sometimes, like with me, it happens, that I don't come to know that
True.
what exactly 100% which I'm achieving is like, it's something which I was looking for. But once I was done with the whole process and everything, and when I was just checking my footage, that is when I felt, that I took a really important decision by listening to my DP, because he suggested that this will give you a very interesting look. And when going with the camera, that it helped me a lot. So that is something which generally documentary filmmakers don't do. But I feel when your film demands, one should take that kind of a call. It pays off. I mean, every single person, whether they like my documentary or not so far, because it's also a subject which not everyone likes, about Banarsi and luxury products and saris and all that way. But
Mm.
everyone said, that the visuals were so beautiful that we didn't have to force ourselves. Some people who are not into documentaries, for them, it's in India, it's not like a trend, towards documentaries. A lot of audience, they go for still fiction movies.
Yeah.
So, but
Access
still, when
is
they
also very difficult.
yes, but still, when they saw the film, they were like, that we loved the visual, the way it was going, and the content is of course informative, because sometimes when that you're buying some Banarsi sari and
Mm.
and
It's
then you
very
realize
relevant. I didn't realize it also, but it was very relevant. And now I know how to buy a Banarasi sari.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of audience I know who are not into documentaries, like my family members and all, everyone. I mean, what worked for them is like good visuals. And when they come to know about, that the real Banarsi is something which you have to check the dots in that, and
Yeah.
that is when everyone after watching a documentary came home, they checked their saris and all, and they said, "Arey, this store is not a genuine Banarsi. We've been fooled." So I thought that at least that aspect will definitely work, that particular portion, even if someone is not into documentaries.
Yeah, it's
So
very
that is something
helpful.
we achieved with the good camera and some of the elements which were there, which was like a eye-opening content, where people were not aware of it earlier.
So
So
where
that
can
part.
we were talking about access to films, and now we can watch this film in UK on Amazon Prime.
So yeah, I mean, we now this is available in Amazon Prime UK. It's also available in US, and
Okay.
slowly, I'm gonna kind of distribute it to different parts of the world. I mean, so far even in India, it has not been showcased because I really wanted to go with Doordarshan, which is a primary channel because
Yes.
this is something which is an awareness film. It's not something which is a commercial product. I feel a lot of viewers and people who make policies, about textile and weaving industry and a layman should know about it. So I
True.
really wanted to go with a platform which kind of telecasts this film all over the world without any limitation, without any, in for any movie nowadays, when you kind of sell your rights, everyone want exclusive rights. So
Okay.
you kind of, yeah, so when you give your movie to one particular platform, they kind of don't allow you to showcase it to the other people. But I kind of, when we made this film, we kind of put our own money and everything. There was nothing commissioned from anywhere. So we were very clear that this film has to reach each and every person. So keeping that in mind, we were very clear that we can't give any exclusive rights to anyone. And that is when I started figuring out how to distribute it, to various platforms in, like, independently. So this Amazon Prime also provides you, I mean, this particular information can really help a lot of independent filmmakers, that there are so many platforms like Film Hub, Sophie TV, and there are so many various platforms which kind of help you to reach OTT platforms, like, and Film Hub especially, like, it kind of
Does
helps
it?
you to reach Amazon Prime for you, and to various other countries, apart from UK, US. So that's how we reached, and we kind of
That's interesting. That's a good journey to make to reach your audience.
yes, it's very important. I think as a filmmaker, when you know that this is just a beginning and you have to make a lot of project in future, it's very important to build that gap slowly, to build that bridge where you can reach your exhibitors in different parts of the world independently rather than going through agents. Sometimes it is important if it's a different region. You can go through certain agents, who can help you to reach and understand your market, in a very well manner. But sometimes, when I had enough time to research and find out, how can I reach
Hmm.
individually, to the different parts. So yeah, Amazon
Yeah.
Prime helped me a lot. And
Oh, that's great. It's good on you that you figured all this out. And that's the spirit of independent filmmaker, right? You have to figure it out
yeah,
and try and reach your audience. And as you said,
we
bridge
have to do
that
that.
gap.
That is very important, because once you understand, that after making a film, it's also like exhibiting your film is also the most important part of any filmmaking process. You cannot be, I mean, that is what I feel, I mean, that's what I was very clear in my head, that you cannot be just a director or producer. You also have to understand how this movie should reach to your audience. Otherwise, there's no point in making such films, with awareness, because when you keep your film with yourself,
Yeah.
who are
There's
you?
a call to action with the documentary, and it
Exactly,
has to reach the people to educate
exactly.
them, to make them
So
aware.
then it becomes your responsibility, like it's like your baby, it is your responsibility to put that much effort, learn. If you don't know, like, study hard, figure out ways, like, kind of negotiate and give this particular film a right platform, and, where people can watch it, it should be available. That was the idea. So I'm glad, that in the UK, this Amazon Prime kind of, the process happened, and we could distribute our film to Amazon Prime in UK. And I'm happy that, UK Asian Film Festival helped me. I mean, it's a very interesting story. I mean, we were kind of in touch with, the UK Asian Film Festival from last 2 years, and this year I'm kind of they selected, and I mean, unfortunately, of course, it couldn't happen. But the kind of support I got from the team, like Mr. Ramandeep, Samir Pamra, I mean, the kind of support I got, which I
Mhm.
think it's very rare, because I've gone through various film circuits, like film festival circuits. So your team was something which I'll be really grateful, rest of my life. I was very
You're
humbled with the way.
welcome. I will forward your compliments
Yeah, yeah, please,
onto
please
the
do that.
team.
Even the way you guys supported with the film, and the distribution, what happened, and the awareness, to your audience, that this film is available in Amazon Prime. That's definitely going to help my film a lot, and then to viewers and everyone. Thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome. And Amit, Satyaprakash, this is your first documentary film. You have won a national award for it in 2019.
Yes,
And
yes, I
what's
was
next
lucky.
for you? How inspired are you after the journey of this film and sharing it? What is next?
It was fantastic. I'm first of all, I mean, I feel fortunate, what happened with me, because this was definitely like it was my first debut feature documentary, and I put my heart and soul, in this film. I had no idea where it will go. Still, in your heart, you feel like that it should go to various platforms. And when we kind of won this national award in best art and culture film, it was something which I can't explain. I mean, you get that kind of recognition because that documentary already in India is a very small market. But
True.
when you get this kind of a platform, when they promote, even like in festivals, like UK Asian Festival, there are various festivals who kind of selected our film. That supports a lot, to such films, especially which has this social cause in it, where people need to know about this particular cause. So it really helped, and I was actually working on this. My next project was like a fiction film, which I
Interesting.
was writing. Yeah, which I was writing from last 4 5 years, and um, just that this documentary we planned earlier, and we thought that okay, once this is done, then we will move to. There are some documentary projects as well, but I think it will take some time because it needs a lot of research. So we
Right.
are doing a research, and it might take another 1 or 2 years to come up with that, because it's facts and figures and so many things, you have to take care in a documentary. But in fiction, it's like everything is in control. You have to make a story. So it's like so there is this fiction film, which is called Koop Manduk, which is a Sanskrit term that means a frog in the well. It's a syndrome.
Okay.
So that is something which I
Nice.
have. The script is complete and everything, and I'm in touch with some of the you know co-producers who are interested. But this pandemic situation kind of delayed it a little. But I'm
Okay.
sure
Yes.
once this everything, once this world kind of becomes a little normal, and once we are able to shoot, then I think we'll start the pre-production and everything of this particular project. But so far, that is the film I'm focused on, and I feel like in life you have to make few films. Not necessarily you have to make 1,000 films. Just make 1 or 2 films, but you have to make good films. Which can which really means a lot to you, and which can definitely say something to the world. That how they can live their life with awareness and with supporting each other, like in your surroundings.
Okay,
That's what
Satyaprakash.
my film was about.
Wonderful words. Wonderful words. And to end this lovely conversation with, all the best to you for your future
Thank you.
projects. Looking forward to them. And for anyone who hasn't seen Bunkar yet, please watch it on Amazon Prime. And if you want to keep in touch with UK Asian Film Festival, you can visit our website at www.ukaff.com or follow us on social media pages at UK Asian Film Festival. Thank you and bye bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.